At Coors Field in Denver, Colorado, the New York Mets play the Colorado Rockies in Game 1 of a doubleheader. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. By Toyota. Dear driver, hurry in and save. Toyota. By Citi, proud partner of the New York Mets. By Nissan. Choose Nissan today and get big savings. Shop nissanusa.com. And by Grubhub, order with contact-free delivery to safely get food from the restaurants you love. Now, springtime in the Rockies, it's just a beautiful panorama of sights and sounds and smells. But, you know, the weather in Colorado in April can be a little capricious. This was yesterday at Coors Field. 7 inches of snow fell. Lots of work for the grounds crew to get the field ready to play. And by the miracle of the snowplow, all is pristine and green for a doubleheader today. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the broadcast booth. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling with you today as the Mets play a doubleheader. We're 15 games into the season. The Mets have played 8. They've been postponed for 7. It's been just craziness all around. And what it's meant is that they're best in the world pitcher Jacob DeGrom has had his start pushed back twice. A rain out Thursday, a snow out yesterday. He'll finally get to pitch today. You know, Gary, we take him so much for granted that we just figure out it doesn't matter how many days he has been between, he'll just figure it out. But we've seen in Denver presents many challenges. When you come here, the ball doesn't break as much, but he's been throwing so hard using his fastball that you think he'll kind of figure it out. This is against an offense of the Rockies that swings a lot and swings the balls off the plate. But the slider, really, and his ability to control tonight is going to be something I'll be watching for. And DeGrom's made 2 starts at Coors Field in his career, and he's been successful in those 2 starts. Meanwhile, the Mets are going to get J.D. Davis back from the injured list today. Got hurt the second game of the season, hit on the hand. He's in the lineup playing third base. Yeah, on that left hand, Gary. That was on April 6th, so it's nice to see him come back in the shortest time possible. He's a guy that Luis has said that has been hitting the ball out of the ballpark the last week, even though that hand was sore, so he should be ready to go, especially in Denver. 43 degrees as we approach game time in Denver. Temperature will be dropping into the 30s, but no snow expected, at least not today. Mets and Rockies playing 2. The first one is coming up on SNY. Goes to the mound for the Mets today. 3-2 coming. On the outside corner, got him looking. And he blew him away again. That's a baker's dozen for DeGrom.
In there, strike 3 ball. He got him with a breaking ball.
I go out there and try to have fun and compete at the best of my ability. And the main thing's having fun playing this game.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Jacob DeGrom has worked up another masterpiece.
No one does it better than Jacob DeGrom.
Swing and a miss, he struck him out. DeGrom has struck out 7 batters in a row.
There's only been 10 pitchers in the history of the game that have done that. Back-to-back Cy Youngs.
I love the cameo of long-haired DeGrom in that little vignette. Your Coors Light beating the pressure since 2018. Nobody in baseball has been even close. 2.06 ERA over the last 3+ seasons as he has continued to evolve and improve, and the velocity has been up, and he just gets better and better with age. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Spectrum. Spectrum Mobile has unlimited talk, text, and data. You could save up to 40%. Go to SpectrumMobile.com today. By Health First, proud wellness partner of the New York Mets. And by Lexus, experience amazing. Jacob DeGrom getting set for his 3rd career start at Coors Field. Mets and Rockies in a doubleheader. First pitch coming up. Haven't played since Wednesday. They've got the league's leading hitter and leading on-base percentage man and Brandon Nimmo up at the top of the batting order. Homecoming for Nimmo every time he goes back to Colorado. Grew up rooting for the Rockies from his home in Cheyenne, Wyoming. J.D. Davis back in the lineup, first time since the second game of the season after suffering a bruised hand. James McCann catches in game 1. We talked about Brandon going home to Colorado. Never better than in 2018 when he led off the game with an inside the park home run. .360 feet of excitement. Wide turn at third and beat it easily. One of his 4 Coors Field home runs. After that game, he met his dad, gave him a big hug, gave him the baseball. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was great. That was terrific. It's good you guys got to see that.
And Nimmo and his family bring their smiles to Coors Field again today.
I mean, if there was smiling then, imagine what they're doing right now. He's atop the leaderboard and everything. Alexander Chichi Gonzalez, drafted in the first round by the Texas Rangers. Tommy John, that slowed his development. He got non-tendered by the Rockies, but they re-signed him, and he's made their rotation. And defensively for the Rockies, when you watch around, they've always had one of the best defenses ever. Less now without Arenado. His cousin Fuentes takes his place. Story, one of the best unknown players of the game. Their outfield is pretty good. Toppy can go get him in left field. Charlie Blackmon's lost a little speed. He's in right.
First pitch of the game from Chichi Gonzalez misses high, and we're underway. Nimmo hitting at .464, leading the National League. .583 on base percentage, likewise leads the league. He's reached base at least twice in each of the first 8 games for the Mets. And he lifts one foul off the left side. Fuentes gives it a look, but it goes out of play. 1-1. For leaderboard, Nimmo with a healthy lead in the major leagues. All American leaguers there behind him, including the Yerminator, Yermin Mercedes, who has burst onto the scene this year.
He didn't catch the no-no, though.
No, the backup catch.
Yeah.
Caught it. Zach Collins.
Yep.
Only his 16th game catching in the majors. 1-1 to Nimmo. Lindor and Smith to follow for the Mets in the first. And Gonzalez misses inside. 2 balls and a strike. Second start for Chichi Gonzalez. He came out of the bullpen his first 2 outings, and then he made his first start last Saturday in San Francisco. Allowed just 1 run in 5 innings and no decision for him. Mets are facing Gonzalez for the first time. And Nimmo cracks one on the ground through the hole into right field for a base hit. And so Brandon Nimmo continues to get on base relentlessly.
You know what's interesting is that what you're going to see from Chichi Gonzalez is that he's a steady diet of cut fastballs. Throws hard, changeup, curveball, but he loves to feature that cutter, and that's what Nimmo hit the right there.
22nd straight game dating back to last year where Nimmo has reached base. And so here's Francisco Lindor, 3 for 7 over the last 2 games. And drawing more walks than he is accustomed to. He's already drawn 7 walks in the Mets' first 8 games this year. Last year it took him to his 29th game before he drew his 7th walk. And he bounces one to the right side. Big hop from McMahon, and his throw to second base goes awry, and everybody's safe. McMahon, moving to his left, took a shot at second base and came up empty.
Well, he hits home runs, but a second base, not a great defensive player, McMahon. And this is the kind of baseball you might see on a day like this because of the feel for the ball, but also just not a good play there. Take the solid out if you have to get it. Boy, Story can get up there, can he? Gee.
Certainly had plenty of time to get it there with a good throw. McMahon played mostly third base when he first came up, but they've squeezed him in at second base. So the Mets are the first 2 men on a single and an error. And now Dom Smith, who has taken over that number 3 spot in the batting order for now, with Michael Conforto struggling. Michael's been dropped to 6th over the last week or so, and Dom has been hitting 3rd. And the slider taken low for ball 1. Mets just swept 3 games from the Phillies with a doubleheader victory on Tuesday and a victory on Wednesday. Hit a little bit better with runners in scoring position in those contests, but just 191 as a team this year. And Gonzalez runs that cutter inside 2-0.
I was watching you and Keith do the Open before the rain out on Thursday, and I couldn't believe when you said the Mets had never swept a 4-game series at home against the Phillies, well, considering how long they have played.
They still haven't.
Exactly. I was waiting.
It was supposed to be the 35th 4-game series between the Mets and Phillies at in Flushing, and still haven't done it. Good off-speed pitch by Gonzalez, 2-1. Chichi Gonzalez, Oral Roberts product. First round pick by the Rangers back in 2013.
Probably the best pitcher from Oral Roberts, Mike Moore, who was the #1 pick in 1981 for the Seattle Mariners.
I don't know, isn't pitching kind of what Oral Roberts did?
That's right, he did.
It is an Oral Roberts University. Down grounds one foul, and it's 2-2.
Well, with the left-handers in the Mets lineup, you're going to get a steady diet of balls in, cutters in. They're going to play the infield defense to pull, and you're going to have to try to go the other way occasionally against Gonzalez.
Lefties have generally done pretty well against Chichi in his major league career, and this year they're hitting .318 against him. He's fared much better against right-hand hitters. Mets had not scored in the first 2 innings before their win on Wednesday against the Phillies. Well, they got 2 in the first against Zach Wheeler. And Dom takes a fastball on the corner. And it's 3-2. That's strike 3, and that's the first out of the game. So Dom Smith is caught looking.
I think this ended up being a changeup, Gary, and it started on the corner, but then ran about 4 inches outside, I believe. But he got the call. So maybe a big dish here for the home plate umpire.
Bruce Dreckman is calling the balls and strikes. This is the same crew that the Mets had for their series with the Phillies just concluded. They made the trip out west. Joe West is the crew chief.
Our teams flying with the umpires. You know, they did some of that last year.
They did some of that last year. I don't know if they still are. Well, the last time the Mets were at Coors Field, Pete Alonso had himself a party. That was in 2019. He went 6 for 11 with 2 home runs in that series at Coors, and he takes a fastball inside for ball 1. There's Bruce Dreckman, #1 in your scorecard, and perhaps in your hearts as well. We have 2 different young umpires with Dreckman and West, with Brennan Miller at first and John Libka at third. They had Jeremy Riggs and Adam McKay with them in the series in New York. And that's when fouled off the catcher Dom Nunez, and it's 1-1. This is the first time the Mets have played a game outside the Eastern divisions, and the first one outside the Eastern time zone since the end of the 2019 season. Seems awfully strange.
And they landed in snow.
Much to the delight of all the players and their Instagram accounts. There was a lot of Instagramming of the tarmac. And a slider foul to the plate, 1-2. Yeah, so Pete has enjoyed this ballpark. That was the one series he's played here. Of course, most hitters like it here. You look at the home and road numbers of so many of the Rocky hitters, and the disparity is just unbelievable. Like 250 point OPS differences between home and road, up and down the line. 1-2 from Gonzalez, and Pete fouls it away.
It's like your caloric intake if you go on a trip to Italy. It's just going to be askew from what you usually have. So you can't wait to get in the batter's box here to fatten up the back of your baseball card.
That was a fantastic analogy, Ronnie. I never would have thought about it in those terms, but you're dead on. But you know, you do a lot of walking when you're in Italy.
Yes, you do.
Walk it off. Especially if you're in Tuscany and the hill towns.
That's right.
It's a lot of up and down. And Pete has a good cut at that fastball and fouled it back. This is the last 10 years at Coors Field versus the road. Look at the OPS, 180 points higher at home. The runs per game, 2 runs greater. Just gives you an idea of the disparity between playing at a mile high and playing at sea level, and you know that can play out in a lot of different ways. Again, the 1-2, and the slider bounced toward third, a foul ball.
And Gary, it's even worse this year. They're averaging over 6 runs at home, less than 2 runs on the road. They have not won a game on the road yet.
Yeah, they come off an 0-6 road trip where they average just 1.8 runs per game. Rockies are 3-10 to start the year, and you know the expectations were not high for this team going into the season, but they've either underperformed what they expected. Their offense has not been nearly what they had hoped. 7th pitch of the bat coming to Alonso, and he takes a cutter in the dirt, and it's 2-2. Gary DeSarcina halfway into the dugout with Alonso at the plate.
I was watching a little bit of the Yankees-Rays game today, and Brett Gardner almost hit Phil Nevin at third base with a late swing. So DeSarcina, very smart.
Well, it makes sense being closer to home plate because you want to direct the runner coming from second, but you also don't want to be where Alonso can, you know, easily hit you. And Pete chops another one foul. So he's making Gonzalez work through this at bat. Chichi Gonzalez, now 29 years old. When he came up with Texas in 2015, his first game in the major leagues, he started with 5 hitless innings.
Yeah.
It's a nice way to begin. Showed some signs with the Rangers for those 2 years, but then had Tommy John surgery that cost him 2 seasons. And the Rockies picked him up for a song. This will be pitch number 9 of this at bat to Alonso. And again, he wastes one away.
Yeah, Gonzalez threw almost 20 innings last year, ERA almost 7. So non-tendered and then re-signed, and he made the rotation. What he's trying to get Pete to do is put that slider on the ground and see if they can turn 2.
Of course, part of the reason Chichi Gonzalez is in the rotation is because Kyle Freeland is hurt.
Yeah.
Freeland has a strained shoulder. When healthy, he is a terrific left-hander, and a guy from Colorado knows how to pitch there. Pete goes down swinging on the slider, and so Gonzalez wins that battle, and he's got back-to-back strikeouts after the Mets put 2 men on.
You know, we talk a lot about how the Mets have struggled with runners in scoring position. A little better against the Phillies, right? But the problem really hasn't been, okay, it's not hitting, but it's the strikeouts in the middle of the lineup when guys are on base that has really been the problem. Not putting the ball in play, not giving yourself a chance.
And with Gonzalez, you're talking about a guy who's
Yeah.
not a big strikeout pitcher. Last year, 7.3. This year, only 4.5 strikeouts per 9. But he's gotten himself a couple of strikeouts here after a single and an error put 2 on, and it's left to Jeff McNeil. Jeff hit in all 3 games of the series against the Phillies, having a little better fortune after hitting into a lot of hard outs to begin the year. Still just 4 for 23 to begin the season. And he takes that one on the corner. A generous call from Dreckman. Strike 1. Mets, with their sweep of Philadelphia, are now 2 games over 500 for the first time since the end of the 2019 season. They've won 3 games in a row, which matches their longest winning streak from all of last year, which is crazy. Nimmo at second, Lindor at first, and McNeil takes another pitch that was a generous call by Dreckman, and now it's 0-2. So 2 pitches that could have easily been called balls are both called strikes. And Bruce says, what do you want me to do? It's cold. I got 2 games today. Swing the bat.
What do you want from me?
So now McNeil finds himself in a 2-strike hole. 23rd pitch of the inning coming up from Gonzalez. And Jeff takes that one, which is called a ball.
Now, we've seen McNeil for the past 4 or 5 days or so, or whenever they've been able to get on the field, have a different approach with 2 strikes. He's just really trying to get the bat on the ball and put the ball in play.
One-two coming, and he fights that one off, running it on his hands. Well, the Mets have had a habit over the last several days of making starting pitchers work early in games. Last game against Zach Wheeler, they got him to throw 29 first inning pitches, and Gonzalez about to throw his 25th. 1-2 to McNeil. Bouncing ball past the mound. Behind the bag is Story. He makes the step on the second for the force play, and that retires the side. Mets strand a pair in the first inning. DeGrom goes to the mound. Ryan McMahon is off to a good start. He had a 3-home run game in the first week of the season against Arizona. 6 home runs, second in the National League. The rest of the lineup really has been struggling mightily, including Trevor Story and Charlie Blackmon, who are expected to be the big bats in this Colorado lineup.
Well, the Toyota numbers for Jacob DeGrom are always great, but even in Colorado, he's had 2 starts, ERA just 2.5. He's made 16 straight starts on the road and has not lost a ball game,
which is a new Mets club record, breaking the mark jointly held by Dwight Gooden and Ron Darling. 15 straight unbeaten on the road. Congratulations, Ronnie, for having your record broken.
That's fine.
Here's Raimel Tapia leading off. Tapia, the left fielder, takes below the knees for ball 1. DeGrom in all has made 7 career starts against the Rockies. He has a 1.25 ERA against Colorado.
Interesting. We've seen the first 2 starts. DeGrom come out throwing 100, 101, 102. Those first 2 fastballs, 97.
And another at 97 that misses low, and it's 3-0.
Remember, he had the warm up. We showed him walking in. That was a good 20, 25 minutes ago. Maybe not loose.
Tapia had a real good year last year, hit .321, .369 on base percentage, and he's become the primary leadoff hitter for these Rockies. What has characterized DeGrom's first 2 starts this year has been his fastball usage. 74% of the time he's thrown his fastball, which is off the charts. And Tapia pops one up in foul ground. J.D. Davis hoping for a play, and he has room to reel it in. So J.D. using that bruised glove hand to catch the foul pop-up, and that's the first out for DeGrom.
Yeah, the ball will find you, right? J.D. Davis back there at third base. The infield and McCann will not be really the issue in this game. To me, it's the starting outfield defense. Alexis Mets outfield defense. Smith, Nimmo, and Conforto. How do they cover this vast territory here in Colorado? That'll be something we'll be watching next 2 days. There's J.D. Davis.
J.D. said his hand has felt pretty good over the last few days, but he never got to take live batting practice coming back as Ryan McMahon fouls one off. So he's got more questions about how he's going to handle live pitching than how he's going to be able to withstand the force of the ball in his glove. McMahon already with 10 extra base hits. That's tied for second in the National League. Hitting .306 with 6 home runs. And he swings through a fastball at 98, and it's 0-2, and DeGrom just getting loose.
Well, McMahon has a classic 2021 swing. He is up there trying to launch. Uppercut swing. 6 home runs so far.
Now in his 5th year with the Rockies, is really his first as an everyday player.
There you
go. But he's a classic Coors Field case, right? His career home OPS is .877, road .624, more than 250 points different. NAS keeps you warm as well as keeping you safe. 1-2 to McMahon, and he bounces that slider. 2-2. DeGrom has yet to throw a curveball this year.
Yeah.
Didn't throw any changeups in his first start, but then mixed in quite a few the second one, especially after Jazz Chisholm took him deep.
I think you'll see more sliders and changeups here in this start. Maybe not the first time through the lineup.
Statcast powered by Google Cloud. 3 infielders on the right side against McMahon, and he pops one up into shallow left center, and Nimmo comes on to call and makes the catch. 2 out. So 2 hitters, 2 balls hit in the air against DeGrom, and 2 out.
Gary, you and I were talking before the game. Colorado has the most space in the National League. Maybe Kansas City in the American League, but you've got to be able to cover that ground. And the Mets have said, or Luis Rojas said before the game, that they're going to play deep and try to keep the ball in front of them kind of defense.
There are different theories about how to play here at Coors Field. One theory is that the ball hit over your head is likely to go out of the ballpark. Better to play shallow and take away all the bloops, because that's why the batting averages are so high. There are so many places to find space in that outfield. Here's Trevor Story, who swings through a fastball, and DeGrom got that one up to 99.
The Rockies swing at 50% of the pitches they see. Their chase rate on pitches outside of the strike zone is 35%. They are one of the most aggressive teams in all of baseball.
Second to last in walks in the National League at this early juncture. Yeah, a fastball on the corner, and DeGrom gets ahead 0-2. Jake coming off a 14 strikeout performance his last time out against Miami. He's had a full week off since then with all the fits and starts in the schedule. Rained out of his start Thursday, snowed out of his start yesterday, and finally getting to the mound today in a 7-inning game. 1-2 coming to Story, and the slider misses low and away. 2-2. Trevor Story, two-time All-Star. In addition to all of his other exploits, he led the league in stolen bases last year. I mean, he can field, he hits with power. He is going to be traded. Here's the 1-2. I mean, his buddy Nolan Arenado got dealt away after much dissatisfaction with the organization, and Story has basically said that he has no intention of re-signing with the Rockies. So there's every chance that sometime between now and the trading deadline this year, he will be playing in another uniform.
There'll be many suitors.
And Story goes down swinging, and DeGrom's got his first strikeout of the day. 1-2-3 for Jake in the thin air. No score after one. Be apt to get in-game video highlights, live pitch-by-pitch, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboards, and more for your Mets. Michael Conforto leads off the second for New York. Mets wasted an opportunity in the first inning, got the first two men on, but Chichi Gonzalez got out of it. Conforto trying to snap an 0-for-16 stretch with all the postponements. It's been a week and a half since Michael's had a hit. Just 3 for 25 to start the season. He's been hit more than he has gotten hits. He's already been hit by pitches 4 times this year, including his game winner, and only 3 hits.
Well, DeGrom has the same number of hits, so he's got to make that end today.
I'm sure DeGrom has mentioned that a time or two. Jake's hitting 600 coming into the day. And the slider low and in. 1-2 to Conforto. J.D. Davis on deck, and then James McCann. Move the third baseman Fuentes over to the right side with 2 strikes on Conforto. And Michael carves one foul, still 1-2. Alexander Chichi Gonzalez. His parents emigrated from Cuba. Pretty good golfer named Chichi.
Chichi Rodriguez, one of the best ever. He used to sheath his sword when he made a birdie. Kind of like Trevor Bauer did the other night on a strikeout. They're called swords now if they get a check swing.
Yeah, but Chichi Rodriguez didn't use anything to help hold the golf club. Line into right center, a base hit for Conforto. So Michael snaps that 0-for-16, and he is one happy camper.
He's like, I can hit. I can hit. A little cutter right in the middle of the plate. He gets on top of it. And a bullet to right field. Good start here for the Mets and Conforto.
Well, now he's got a smile you can't wipe off his face. Mets have a hit to start this second straight inning. And here the return of J.D. Davis to the batter's box. J.D. played opening day, went 1 for 3. Then his first time up the next day, he got hit on the left hand by a pitch, exited, and has not been back since.
And this really got him. Ran in on him, couldn't get his hands out of the way. And he knew right away. You saw his reaction. Didn't hit on top of his hand where he has some padding usually. It hit right on the side. So didn't catch any bones, but probably had some severe swelling.
Took about 6 or 7 days before it really felt better. And as a result, he hasn't really had a chance to take any live BP. So he feels as though, you know, he'll be fine in time, but it might take a while for him to get back to game speed.
Well, you can see the padding he has on the top of his hand. You would think at some point R&D, research and development, will come up with some gloves that would protect the entire hand for the hitter, but I don't know. It's hard to get those little bones on the side of the wrist or protect those little bones. There you go. There's the padding.
I've seen some hitters with more technologically advanced padding on the back of their hand. Not a great cut at that slider, and it's 1-2. James McCann sitting 8th in the order. He's on deck. Well, both Luis Guillorme and Jonathan Villar did a very nice job filling in at third base while JD was out. One of those two is likely to start the second game of the doubleheader today as they ease Davis back in. And I think it's at this point an open question who plays the most at that position going forward. JD's certainly going to get the first crack. He grounds one down to third, a chance for 2. Fuentes to second for 1. McMahon on to first, and they turn the 5-4-3 double play.
Fuentes making like Arenado.
Well, he's not his cousin, but he's not a bad fielding third baseman. Just nobody is Nolan Arenado.
Well, what's interesting about this play is McMahon had to come from so far away that he had to time that throw and make it perfect. Because most second basemen, you want to stop and be gathered, but McMahon really just ran right across the base, slid his right foot over the top of the base, and proceeded to make the perfect throw.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now James McCann. McCann coming off a 3-hit game on Wednesday, including his first home run as a Met his last time up.
Wow, look at, he never did get the proper grip on this ball. Dropped that ring finger down just enough to get enough on that throw, but 5-finger throw to McMahon.
And the slider hit on the ground to McMahon. And that gets Gonzalez through the top of the second inning. Mets again get a leadoff hit and don't score. Here's the city line score. 7-inning games in doubleheaders. No score as we go to the bottom of the second. Well, Steve Gelb's got an upgrade this week for these road games. Last year and early this season, we had him sitting in the studio in Manhattan. Now we've found him a spot in the ballpark. Steve, welcome back.
Thank you very much. I really love my new abode. The guys did a fantastic job here the last week putting it all together, and I'm almost within reaching distance of you guys. We're getting closer every single day. Listen, Charlie Blackmon leading off here for the Rockies, and when you have a .303 career batting average, there aren't too many pitchers that you struggle against, as he hits this one down the line, so not struggling against DeGrom here to lead off this inning, and that blows up my report, guys. So no, let's keep going with it though, just in case. All right, so he has until that moment struggled against Jacob DeGrom, just 2 for 19 prior to that at bat, and Blackmon has hit some of the great pitchers of his generation significantly better, significantly well. I mean, he's been really good against a lot of pitchers across Major League Baseball. So I didn't get a chance to talk to Charlie Blackmon given all the COVID protocols, but we have spoken with him in the past, and he is someone who is maniacal in his preparation. That leads to so much of his success. And you do wonder if a guy like that struggles even more against a Jacob DeGrom, just because there is no way to really prepare for DeGrom. We saw his first start of the season this year. He didn't throw a single changeup. Then his last start, he threw 22% changeups. He just changes what he does at bat to at bat, game to game. And maybe for Blackmon, there's just no way to prepare for him like he does for so many others across the league.
Well, Blackmon's been struggling, but that double certainly helps him. And now C.J. Cron, who signed as a minor league free agent with the Rockies after playing for the Tigers last year. Batting with a runner at second and nobody out. First base runner against DeGrom today.
But guys, this is what I was referring to. I mean, look at these numbers versus Kershaw. And this is left on left. Kershaw, Bumgarner. You know, then, I mean, 400 batting average against Steven Strasburg. He's really dominated some of the great pitchers in Major League Baseball this generation. But Jacob DeGrom, there's something different about Jacob DeGrom. We know that in general, but even with some of these top pitchers, there's something different about him.
Right now, Jake is a little bit off, and you can see it in his body language. Falling behind on Cron now, 3-1.
He usually can throw a strike to that glove side fastball in his sleep, and he's struggling with it right now.
Cron's got tons of power. 30 home run hitter with Tampa Bay in 2018. Just 7 for 37 to start this year, and he reaches for a fastball and fouls it off, 3-2.
He might be the best power hitter in the game that no one wants to keep. I mean, he had 30 home runs with Tampa Bay. They DFA'd him. He went over and had 25 home runs with Minnesota. They non-tendered him. And now he's here.
Well, he's in the same spot that Pedro Alvarez was in a few years ago.
You're right,
Gary. The market for that 25 to 30 home run first baseman has shrunk because there are so many guys who hit home runs. That's outside ball 4. So DeGrom clearly having trouble with his alignment to the plate. This is where he usually self-corrects pretty quickly, but he walks Cron and there are 2 men on.
Well, I was thinking coming into this game, because it's hard to feel your breaking pitch until you've gotten into the game. And there's a heater in the dugout. But I was thinking that the changeup might come into play more for DeGrom this afternoon. We'll see.
So now Josh Fuentes, who has taken over the third base job at the moment from his cousin, who's now a St. Louis Cardinal, Nolan Arenado. And Fuentes chases the slider for strike 1. Fuentes, another guy off to a slow start, hitting just 190, and a very aggressive hitter. Rarely walks. Last year hit 306 for the Rockies, playing in about half the games. Played a lot of first base for them last year. Blackmon at second, Cron at first with nobody out. And DeGrom misses with that slider, 1-1.
It's like 50-50 right now, right, Gary? One good slider, one he holds on to a little too long. One good one, one bad one.
Well, and his fastball location is off as well. So we'll see how quickly he can correct. Sam Hilliard, the center fielder, is on deck. And 3 sliders in a row to Fuentes, and it's 2-1.
You don't see this much from DeGrom, but the body language you can see is that he's kind of bending at the waist. He's trying to feel comfortable over the rubber, and none of that is coming to pass right now.
I mean, you hate to make excuses for a guy who is the best pitcher on the planet, but you have to wonder about what the impact of the last few days has been as that fastball's popped up foul down the right side out of play.
Well, not only that, Gary, I think there are certain pitchers in baseball that semi take their in-between throwing seriously, you know, different degrees. He throws twice on the mound in between starts, and it is an art form the way he gets prepared for each and every 5th day. So it's certainly, I'm not going to make excuses either. He'll figure it out.
I mean, when the game got rained out at Citi Field on Thursday, he went out in the pouring rain and did some throwing. Just, you know, flat ground, playing catch. That's grounded down toward third, a foul ball. And then yesterday, the game got called very early, and DeGrom still went to the ballpark and did some throwing in the snow on flat ground, just again to keep his arm loose and play catch.
He reminds me of all the generation of pitchers I played with on the Mets. We always threw every day, rain out, snow out, day off. You try to make sure that you threw every day. It was so important.
Now, that all having been said, Jake for his career has better numbers on 6 or more days rest than he does on 4 or 5 days rest. So 2-2 coming. Fastball, strike 3 call. That's the best fastball he's thrown yet, and he gets Fuentes looking for the first out of the inning.
Okay, 2 pitches ago. Watch how he lands 2 pitches ago. Well, you can see his left foot is turned sideways. It's usually when he throws a pitch, that foot is straight on to the batter. So I don't know if it's a hole that his mate on the mound, Gonzalez, is digging, but he's uncomfortable right now.
Well, that last fastball was exactly where he wanted it. So he's got his second strikeout, 1 out of the inning. Now Sam Hilliard is just 3 for 25 to start the year, but 2 of those 3 hits have been home runs, and that fastball catches the corner at 100 miles an hour. So Jake's good no matter how many days rest he has. But these are the numbers. When he has normal 4 days rest, 2.54. 5 days rest, 2.77. 6 or more days rest, 2.32.
Yeah.
So he's a little bit better with the extra rest. But usually it doesn't come in these kinds of circumstances where you're getting ready to pitch each day and then not pitching. Another fastball dotted on the inside corner, and it's 0-2.
I know Steve talked about this in his last start with Jacob, his ability to self-correct, and he did it with the last 2 pitches against Fuentes, and here the first 2 to Hilliard. Hilliard struck out last year at a rate of 37% of his at-bats.
Hit just 210 last year. And he comes inside again and strikes him out on 3 pitches, all the same, 99 or 100, inside corner or just in a little further.
It's one of those at-bats that'll hurt your feelings. I mean, just threw it as hard as he could on the inside part of the plate. 2 strikes, and then this one, no chance. Type of swing that Hilliard has just ties him up inside.
Coming into today, over the last 2 seasons, last year and this year combined, DeGrom had thrown 265 pitches 99 miles an hour or harder, which is 123 more than any other pitcher in baseball.
Yeah.
Which is phenomenal when you think about where he came from, throwing 94, 95 when he first came up.
Yeah, it's a bump of 5, right? Wow.
Here's Dom Nunez doing the catching today. And takes a fastball high for ball 1. Well, when the situations get dicey, that's when DeGrom gets better. We've seen this since the day he came up, but even better now as he's reached this incredible pinnacle over the last few years.
All the great starting pitchers in the Hall of Fame have those kind of numbers.
Dom Nunez splitting the catching duties for the Rockies with Elias Diaz. Nunez had some big league time 2 years ago, did not play last year. Sixth round pick out of Elk Grove, California back in 2013. The pitcher Gonzalez on deck. Rockies got the first 2 men on. DeGrom has struck out the next 2. And Nunez fouls away the fastball, 2-1. So DeGrom trying to pull off what Chichi Gonzalez did in the first inning. He worked out of a first and second no-out jam. Rookie of the year and 2 Cy Youngs. That's a small club. Seaver, Verlander, DeGrom. And he said it again this week in an interview with Jeff Passan. He said not only does he want to be a Hall of Famer, he wants to be an inner circle Hall of Famer. I find it fascinating because you just don't hear players in the prime of their career talk about the Hall of Fame, but Jake has done so quite openly this year.
But he also was realistic at the bottom. To become an inner circle Hall of Famer, I'm going to have to play that long. And he knows that it's, you know, anything over 5 years of the excellence that he's been showing here. But he still has a ways to go. I know some people will find that shocking, but Now the third Cy Young, that might change things.
He'll turn 33 this summer. 2 on, 2 out, 2-2 to Nunez. And Nunez fouls away the fastball. Well, he was throwing 97 at the start. He's found his velocity, throwing consistently now at 99 and 100. And perhaps it just took him a little longer to get loose. It was 43 at game time.
Yeah, I was saying that, Gary. It was about 25 minutes from the time he walked in to the Mets dugout to the time he took the mound in the first inning.
By the way, you see a somewhat larger crowd at Coors Field. They allow 40% capacity in Colorado, up to 21,000 allowed in the building. A little bigger crowds than are allowed here in New York at this point. And Nunez goes down on the slider, and DeGrom strikes out 3 in a row to strand a pair in the second. Masterful work by Jake. No score. T-Mobile coverage cam. Well, we don't have any cameras inside the ballpark. We're picking up the Rockies feed, but we do have our camera outside the ballpark. That's the ball player who stands guard right outside Coors Field, right at the corner of 20th and Blake. It's a beautiful ballpark.
I know. I got a buddy that I usually see out there, and he always waits for me at that statue after the game.
We definitely are missing going to places like Denver.
Yes.
But hopefully we'll be back on the road eventually. Meanwhile, we join you in sitting and watching the pretty pictures. We go to the third. Jake DeGrom leads off. 3 for 5 to start the year. He is a .600 hitter. Chichi Gonzalez has given up a leadoff hit in each of the first 2 innings. Jake's lifetime average now up to 194. Second game today, the Rockies will roll out German Marquez, who might be one of the best hitting pitchers in baseball right now.
Luis Rojas says that Jake's been chirping about it too, that average.
Of course he has. That's hit the other way, and that's going to fall into left field for a base hit. And now he's hitting .667. So DeGrom continues to rake. 4 for 6 to start the year.
Little cutter on the outside part, kind of maybe semi-jams himself, but dumps it into left field. 4 hits on first. They asked him if he wanted the jacket. He said, no, I'm cool.
Well, obviously not that cool. So Conforto got his 4th hit, so DeGrom matched him. Now he can keep chirping.
Whenever you get a hit, the first baseman always says the same thing. Is it that easy? They always say the same thing.
To a pitcher.
Yeah.
Well, for Nimmo, it's been that easy, and he drops down a bunt. It's a beauty of a bunt. Gonzalez fields and gets the out at first. Nimmo trying to bunt for a hit. He'll get credit for a sacrifice, no doubt.
This is maybe the only ballpark in the entire country where you'd say, oh, wait a minute. We can't give a sacrifice at Coors Field, where there's usually runs galore.
Well, in Nimmo's defense, I don't think he was giving himself up.
He was not.
But the way he's swinging the bat right now, it's hard to fathom why he would bunt for a hit. Anyway.
Let's not forget, 7-inning game, right?
Here's Lindor. That's a good point, Ronnie, but it's hard to play for one run in the 3rd inning at Coors Field, even in a 7-inning game. Lindor reached on an error his first time up, and they did give Nimmo credit for a sacrifice. So it does not affect his on-base percentage in a negative way. You get penalized for a sacrifice fly in your on-base percentage, but not for a sacrifice bunt. So it stays at .595 after his first inning single. And another generous strike for Gonzalez from the home plate umpire Bruce Streckman. There are the rest of the starting pitchers for this series. The City Probables. Joey Lucchesi makes his first start for the Mets in Game 2 against Marquez. And then Marcus Stroman goes tomorrow, coming off 2 terrific starts against Antonio Senzatella. And that changeup misses to Lindor, 2-1.
German Marquez, who's pitching in the second game, is one of the fine young pitchers that no one talks about.
He's been their best pitcher the last 4 years.
Yep.
And they've got a pretty good young staff. John Gray and Freeland when he's healthy. Back foot slider by Gonzalez to get even on Lindor. 2-2. Their bullpen's been a big problem, though.
Yeah.
And the overriding problem for the Rockies pitching staff so far have been the walks. They came into the day having walked 66 batters in 115 innings, on pace to break a major league record for walks in a season. The record is held by the 1915 Philadelphia A's. Defensive cut by Lindor, and he stays alive. The 1915 Philadelphia A's walked 827 batters, and they still played games in 2 hours and 10 minutes. Dom Smith on deck. DeGrom at second with one out. And Lindor fights that one off, running it on his hands. It was a painful swing in 43-degree weather. Those bees right up the bat handle and into your hands.
Well, he's had 2 in a row now, because the one that he fouled off the plate was the same. That one, though, was off the end of the bat. This one off the knuckles.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
Do batting gloves help at all in terms of that horrible feeling that you get on a day like this?
A little bit, Gary, but it goes right up your thumbs into your wrists. I mean, it is. I mean, it stings like no other sting.
Well, there are other stings.
yeah, exactly.
Catchers know about those. 7th pitch of the at bat, and Lindor chops one foul. Time for your Spectrum Mobile high-speed pitch. DeGrom has hit triple digits. Chichi Gonzalez is never going to win that battle. But he's worked around trouble. Mets have had leadoff hits in all 3 innings. He got out of the first 2 situations. Now facing Lindor with a runner at second. And Francisco banks one on the ground toward the hole, and smothered by McMahon, gets up and throws him out. So Ryan McMahon, who nearly cost the Rockies in the first inning with a throwing error, this time makes a splendid play, taking a base hit away from Lindor and getting the second out.
So played him straight up. So McMahon had a traditionally long way to go as a second baseman. Not only the catch is important here, but the athleticism to bounce up to your feet and an accurate throw is where the play is made. They think it's through, and they're telling DeGrom to hold up. And them all like a third base coach do.
So DeGrom now at third with 2 on. Dom Smith will try and get him in. And Dom takes that fastball high, ball 1. See, I thought it would have been more entertaining had they been waving DeGrom, try and score from second on an infield out. And here's some Met fans in the crowd at Coors Field. Just missed low as Nunez tried to steal a strike, and it's 2-0.
So Bruce Streckman, the home plate umpire, will give you 3-4 inches off the plate, nothing on the bottom of the knees. So he's a east-west umpire for a pitcher, not north-south.
Dom was called out on strikes on a questionable pitch his first time up, and that slider runs in, and it's 3-0. Well, you got Alonso on deck. Do you give Dom a hit sign on 3-0?
I would. I would, because I think Dom is an intelligent enough hitter to know that he's going to get a little cutter or fastball in the middle of the plate. If he doesn't get anything else, he lets it go. I think he has a good idea about the plate. Yeah, I'd let him swing.
And he takes the back foot slider for ball 4, so Gonzalez had no intention of coming after him. And that's his first walk of the game. And he'll face Alonso with runners at the corners.
Well, you were talking about the walks before in the 1915 Philadelphia A's. Just one thing you can't do here. And maybe, do I understand walking Dom Smith to go righty-righty here? I don't. Not in this ballpark.
And Pete had some pretty good swings in the course of his at-bat against Gonzalez first time up before he struck him out in a 10-pitch marathon.
I mean, it just feels like a 3-run home run when you walk a hitter in front of Alonso.
Let's see how well your fields do.
Yeah. It's just a bad baseball play if you're a pitcher. You know, Dominic is a really good hitter. Alonso's a really good hitter. You got to go after someone at some point.
I think in this ballpark you have to go after everybody.
I agree.
Because the walks will kill you. Because there's so many cheap hits. In addition, forget about where the ball flies in the home run. There's so many hits on balls that look like they should be caught. That's line to center field, in for a base hit, and that'll bring the first run of the game in. DeGrom comes in to score. Dom goes first to third. Pete Alonso with an RBI single, and the Mets lead 1-0. Sixth RBI of the year for Pete.
Well, gets a fastball that's running in on his hands. His first time up, he tried to pull everything. And a little better approach here. Inside out, up the middle, and a bullet to right center that scores DeGrom with 2 outs. Those 2-out RBIs, great.
So Gonzalez, after giving up leadoff hits in the first 2 innings and getting through it, unable to seal the deal here in the third. Mets have a run in. Smith at third, Alonso at first, and McNeil the batter. And Jeff takes a changeup away for ball 1. So DeGrom spent a lot of that inning on the bases, which is probably a good thing on a day like this, I would think, just to stay warm.
You don't always say this with the starting pitcher, but he's one of the best athletes on the field whenever he pitches.
Mets have a couple of those on their staff with DeGrom and Marcus Stroman. Stroman, though, the other day, after running the bases, was so cold here at Citi Field that he wound up coming out of the game an inning shy of a 7-inning complete game. I don't think there'll be any such problem for DeGrom today. 1-1 to McNeil into a fielder's choice his first time up. And he hits one in the air to left field, chasing Tapia back, but he'll have room to make the catch, and that retires the side. Mets get a run on a Pete Alonso 2-out hit. DeGrom's got his run. 1-0. Jacob DeGrom pitching with the lead for the first time as we go to the bottom of the third. 7-inning game, first of a doubleheader. His opposite number, Chichi Gonzalez, leads off in the home third. Gonzalez 2 for 26 in his career, including 1 for 2 this year. It'll be 9-1-2 in the Rockies batting order. DeGrom has been fully involved last half inning. He ran the bases and scored the only run of this game. In the bottom of the second, he gave up a double and a walk and proceeded to strike out the next 3 hitters. So if he was frost-ridden when the game began, he is fully warmed up now. A little after 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Denver. By the time this doubleheader is over, it's going to be downright icy. Raimel Tapia on deck, and then Ryan McMahon for the Rockies in the third. And Gonzalez goes down swinging on the high fastball. That's 4 in a row now for DeGrom. 5 strikeouts for the day. Chris Williamson and Ian Begley discuss R.J. Barrett's evolution and emergence as a star and clutch player on the latest episode of SNY.TV's digital series, The Putback with Ian Begley. Check it out now on SNY.TV. You know, it was a 3:10 local time starting time in Denver today, so this is technically a day game, which means that DeGrom's lifetime 1.80 day game ERA comes into play. That's by far the best in history. And Tapia goes after the high heat. So he's got a little life now on that fastball up in the zone.
And their game plan, Colorado, with just about every pitcher, but even more so with DeGrom, is to swing at that first pitch. Charlie Blackmon had a double on one.
And DeGrom finds the inside corner, and Tapia fouls it off, and it's 0-2. Well, whatever was distressing DeGrom in the last inning as far as his line to the plate, he seems to have solved it. And this is what we talk about all the time with him, that some pitchers take 2 or 3 starts to figure out how they're off. This guy takes 2 or 3 pitches and he blows away Toppy at 101 miles an hour. That is 5 consecutive strikeouts now for DeGrom, halfway to Seaver.
So you talked about Stroman the other day on the bases getting cold and coming out of the game. I think running the bases rejuvenated DeGrom, got his athleticism juices flowing, and looking better here this inning.
6 strikeouts. That's now 27 strikeouts in 16 2/3 innings for DeGrom to start the year. It was Ryan McMahon who flied out to center his first time, and he gets jammed by a slider and fouls it off.
There's times in a game where he starts becoming like a machine. Ball in the glove, the stare. Here we go.
He's just waiting for McMahon to get in the box. He's ready to pitch. Another slider, and he gets ahead 0-2. Well, as his velocity has gone up, as his command has gotten better, his strikeouts have followed. And even better than that so far today. 6 strikeouts in 2 2/3. As McMahon's late on that fastball, and he fouls it off.
You know, Gary, you're trying to make a point earlier, and I was really listening to that. At times this year he's been almost primarily fastball. In the past it might be an all slider game, all fastball game. What happens is these teams try to get a blueprint on how to face him, but the hitting coach has got to be able to say to him after the second inning, throw that one out. He's on a different road today.
And he blows him away upstairs. DeGrom strikes out the side. He's fanned the last 6 hitters. DeGrom on a roll. Talk about a shutdown inning. 1-0 Mets. 4th inning in a 7-inning game. Mets lead 1-0. Michael Conforto takes a slider for a strike. Conforto got off the Schneid, snapped an 0 for 16 with a base hit to right center, leading off the second. Then it was a race on a double play. Mets have had leadoff hits in each of the first 3 innings. Finally brought one around in the 3rd against Chichi Gonzalez, who threw 59 pitches in the first 3 innings. Making his 2nd start of the season. He threw 80 pitches his first time out in 5 innings against the Giants last Saturday. Luis Rojas and the Mets looking for their 4th straight win. Haven't had a 4-game winning streak in 2 years. 1-2 to Conforto.
Most disappointed person on the planet when the Mets got rained out on Thursday, Chichi Gonzalez.
Why do you say that?
I got DeGrom now.
Oh, well. You know, you don't pitch against the opposing pitcher.
Yes, you do.
Pitch against the other team.
That's. I got a word for it, but I'm not going to say it.
Of course, DeGrom already has a hit and a run scored against Gonzalez, so there you go. Maybe that's what he was fearing. The bat.
Only the Mets could have the pitcher get a hit and bunt him over, score a run.
By the way, I don't know if you know this, Ronnie, but Jake is working on erasing you from another line in the book.
I'm happy. Listen, I am so happy to be erased in any way by him, and you know where he's going is a place I don't even know.
So he now has 70 hits, which is 6th on the Mets all-time pitchers list.
Yeah.
5th on the list, that would be you. You have 75.
75.
So he's got 5 more to catch.
Well, he's definitely going to get it this year. How about extra base hits? Can we go that deep and see maybe have an advantage there?
Well, he has 3 home runs, which is
I
one
know more than me.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Sorry.
Another one off.
He hasn't been used as a pinch runner as often as you were. Conforto hits one toward the hole, and that goes through for a base hit. Only one infielder on that side, and Story nearly got to it, but Conforto got just enough on it to pick up his 2nd hit of the day. Drive around the majors presented by Audi. Let's see what we got. 6 home runs for the Cubs today, including a pair for Chris Bryant and Wilson Contreras in their 13-4 win over the Braves. Steven Matz held the Royals hitless for the first 5. He's off to a flying start with the Blue Jays, 3-0, 1.47 over his first 3 starts. Nationals won today. Yan Gomes had a big day. So let's see. The Nats improved to 5-7 after their dramatic win yesterday. The Schwarber-Scherzer game. Schwarber hit the walk-off home run in a 1-0 win after Scherzer had gone 7 innings in which he passed Cy Young on the all-time strikeout list.
Also
and his comment after the game was, I've got 3 of those on my wall.
Lucky Cy's not around. I think that was his 99th a double-digit strikeout game too. I mean, he's going places too.
J.D. Davis grounded into a double play in his first at bat off the injured list, and he takes a slider for a strike. The Mets have now had a leadoff hit in 4 straight innings against Chichi Gonzalez.
What a great start to this road trip for Conforto. Great to have him have a ridiculously hot road trip and then come back to Citi Field.
Well, he had 3 hits for the season when the day began. He's got 2 in the first 4 innings today. The Rockies off to a 3-10 start, matches their worst ever through 13 games. The 2005 Rockies started out 3-10. They won 67 games that year. The 2019 Rockies started 3-10. They won 71 games. So it does not bode well. Breaking ball hit sharply and into left field for a base hit. So J.D. Davis picks up a base hit in his first game back from the injured list, and the Mets have the first 2 men on in the 4th.
Well, Gonzalez has not really been mixing up his pitches a lot. He really has thrown predominantly that cut fastball. He's going to have to start using that changeup, a little bigger slider, and spotting his fastball if he's going to get through this order for the second time.
So the Mets with yet another scoring opportunity, and here's James McCann, who grounded out his first time up. It's nice to see McCann break out offensively on Wednesday. 3 hits, including his first home run that broke the game open. Conforto at second, Davis at first.
Bud Black on the right, Steve Foster, I believe, on the left, the pitching coach.
This was Wednesday, McCann's last at bat against the Phillies.
A high breaking ball from J.C. Romero in the middle of the plate and hit a towering shot to left center field.
That's hit sharply to short. Big hop, tough one for Story, but he stays with it. And McMahon turns it over for the double play. That was almost disaster for Story as that ball came up, but he was equal to it. Boy, and the Rockies turned 2.
This is where I wish we were there, because you don't get the feel on how great of a play that was by Story. Every series in Colorado he does something like this, and that is as bad a bounce as you're going to see, and still regroups and turns 2. He's a magnificent player.
I think he is right in that short list of the most underrated players in the game, and that happens to guys who play at Coors Field. As DeGrom grounds one on the right side, McMahon makes the play, and Gonzalez gets through the inning. Mets get 2 hits and leave 1. Halfway through this 7-inning game, 1-0 Mets. Well, the last time the Mets played a doubleheader at Coors Field, this was the scene. They got snowed out, and the next day there were about 10 inches of snow on the field, and the game was delayed for hours while they tried to clear enough snow away from the field and from the seats so we could play baseball. They did an unbelievable job, and everybody got into the act. Sandy Alderson was out with a shovel. Ed Coleman was out with a shovel.
The great thing about this ballpark is that if you have a game, these people are the hardiest in baseball. So they are coming.
The other thing about Denver is it can snow one day and be 80 degrees the next day. It's not 80 degrees today, but it does happen.
They call those Chinooks up in Canada. I don't know if they do that in Denver. That breath of fresh air and hot air that comes through.
You know what they say about New York weather? If you don't like it, wait a minute, it'll change. Same thing there. Well, DeGrom has struck out 6 in a row. He's had 2 streaks in his career of striking out 8 in a row, one famously as a rookie to begin a game against Miami, which tied a major league record. And then another 2 years ago against the Braves. Trevor Story leads off and swings over a slider. Story struck out his first time up. In the second inning, the Rockies began the inning with a Charlie Blackmon double, a walk to C.J. Cohen, and since then, DeGrom has not had a fair ball hit against him. 6 straight strikeouts.
It's a big inning in a 7-inning game, the 4th inning. You're usually going through the middle of the order, and you are here with Story, Blackmon, and C.J. Cohen.
49 pitches in the first 3 innings for DeGrom, a few more than he'd like if he's aiming toward pitching 7 innings in this game. Well, among the stellar shortstops who are going to be on the free agent market, the Mets picked one off when they signed Francisco Lindor to a long-term deal, but the market will be hot and heavy for this group, including Story.
All their agents have the Lindor contract waiting and ready.
And the Tatis contract.
Yeah, right.
And Story foul tips one for strike 3, and that's 7 in a row for DeGrom.
Starting with a slider, and then after that, fastballs kept going up in the zone. Story certainly still is a strikeout victim. Early in his career, he was striking out at an alarming rate, but not as much anymore. Jake, too good there.
Well, now not only is DeGrom on a roll, but now he's got the shadows starting to work in his favor too. The shadow of a light stanchion in between the mound and home plate. Blackmon has the only hit against DeGrom. And he swings over a slider, 0-1.
There's your shadows. Light stanchions are just coming into play. Remember, Charlie Blackmon hit the first pitch fastball for a double down the line. What's he counter with the next time up? Little slider down and in.
Anybody know what Charlie looks like without a beard?
I have seen a picture of him without a beard, and he's I mean, I'm not saying he's not an attractive man now. He is, but he's more attractive, let's say.
I mean,
and so youthful looking.
We saw Rougned Odor's face revealed for the first time when he went to the Yankees, and it was kind of stunning. Charlie's had that beard for a long time. A little bit low, and it's 1-2.
DeGrom gets a strikeout here. We're starting to chase some history.
Well, he's already getting there.
Yeah.
7 in a row. Only one pitcher's ever struck out 10 in a row, and that was Tom Seaver back in 1970. And it's amazing in this era of the strikeout that nobody has tied that. Right here we are 51 years later, and Seaver's still the only guy to do that. 2-2 coming, and Blackmon gets a piece of that one, stumbling as he goes.
Jake keeps, I don't know if it's a nervous tick, but he keeps poking at like his right hip, right below his belt buckle. Might be just a nervous tick, but I've never noticed it before. You think I would have with all the starts that we've seen.
Again, the 2-2 to Blackmon. And he struck him out. 8 in a row for Jacob DeGrom. That ties his career best. 3rd time in his career he's struck out 8 straight.
So just a steady diet of breaking balls. This one down and in. He tried to backdoor him with the slider and missed.
So now the last man to reach against DeGrom, C.J. Cohen, who walked in the second. And slider right down the heart of the plate. 0-1. Nine strikeouts in 3 2/3 for DeGrom, including the last 8 hitters. Ball and a strike to Cohen. What was amazing in his last start is that he struck out 14 against Miami, throwing just 95 pitches.
Yeah.
Went 8 innings in that game. And that rising fastball eludes the bat of Cohen, and it's 1-2.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They're looking for fastball. They get it. They just never seen it this quick.
1-2 coming. He struck him out. 9 in a row for Jacob DeGrom. 10 strikeouts for the day, 1 strikeout shy of history. 1970 weekday afternoon game at Shea Stadium. Tom Seaver struck out the last 10 San Diego Padres. Al Ferrara was the first and last in that stretch. Jacob DeGrom, when he takes the mound for the bottom of the 5th, will be facing Josh Fuentes, who was the first victim of his 9 consecutive strikeouts, 1 shy of Seaver's major league record. Meanwhile, Brandon Nimmo leads off in the 5th against Chichi Gonzalez and pops one up into shallow left field. On comes Tapia. 1 pitch and 1 retired for Gonzalez in the 5th. It is amazing watching DeGrom today pitching on a full week's rest, with his start having been postponed each of the last 2 days by rain and snow, and frankly did not look himself through the first 5 batters of this game. Since then, he's been otherworldly. As Lindor was robbed of a hit by McMahon his last time up, and he takes a slider for a strike. Lindor hit 2 balls to the second baseman. 1 was thrown away for an error. The other one, McMahon made a brilliant play to get an out. And a changeup misses a ball and a strike. On a cool day in Denver, 43 degrees at game time, DeGrom has brought fire.
When you have 9 in a row, it's almost like you're treated like it's a no-no by your teammates. Leave that guy alone. He's on a roll.
7 players other than Seaver have struck out 9 in a row. DeGrom is the 8th now.
Scherzer
but nobody's ever gotten to 10.
Scherzer did it, didn't he? I thought he did.
Might have. Grounded foul, 2-2. Fan safety at Citi Field is top priority. Learn about the new protocols and what you need to know before coming back to the ballpark at Mets.com/safe@Citi.
By the next time DeGrom gets out there, the shadows will really be in play.
And it's interesting that you say that. As a half swing by Lindor, and he did not go around 3-2. Because the day that Seaver struck out 10 in a row against the Padres, the shadows were very much in play in the last couple of innings of that game. Three-two coming, and Lindor hits another one at McMahon. He handles this one for the second out. Watch SNY Mets games on any device. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. And I'll say it again. I mean, every year over the last decade, there have been more and more strikeouts in the game. And it is phenomenal that nobody has matched Seaver's record in the 51 years since he set it. Because in this era, you would expect every strikeout record to fall precipitously. And yet that one has remained at the pinnacle. And now DeGrom has a chance to match it or break it. Dom Smith has struck out and walked, and he takes low for ball 1. Of course, if anybody is going to tie or break that record, it would certainly be appropriate that it be a Met player wearing a number 41 patch on his right sleeve.
That's right.
This is the year where the Mets are paying tribute to Tom Seaver, who passed away last year. The greatest player in the history of the franchise. That one missed just low and away. 2-1 to Dom.
A big pitch here for Gonzalez, doing all that he can to try to keep it at a 1-run deficit.
2 out and nobody on. Mets with a 1-0 lead in the 5th, and Dom swings over a slider, and it's 2-2. Two from Gonzalez, and Dom swings at the slider and misses for strike 3. Third strikeout for Gonzalez, and now it's DeGrom's turn to try and make some history. That's 9 Colorado Rockies. He'll be facing Josh Fuentes to lead off the 5th. Here are the 9 victims so far.
It started with Josh Fuentes. Gary, he started this game like he couldn't get loose. Then it looked like he was pitching out of sorts. But once he locked it in, it didn't matter what he threw. It was not even approachable by some of these professional Colorado hitters. He talked with Jeff Passan, you said, about being inner circle. He's having an inner circle day.
Years from now, people are going to tell their kids and their grandkids that they got to see the great Jacob DeGrom in his prime. The way we talk about seeing Seaver and Gibson and Koufax and all the great pitchers that are in the pantheon of the Hall of Fame that we saw while we were growing up, Jacob DeGrom is very much a part of that group. So here's Fuentes, who started the streak of 9 in a row by taking a call third strike in the 2nd. It's been all fastballs and sliders for Jake today. He's topped out at 101 miles an hour. And Fuentes swings over their first pitch, 0-1.
The sliders not only fooling them with the break, these Rockies hitters that are trying to jump on their first pitch fastball, but also the deception in speed.
And he hits one back past the mound. Behind the bag at second is McNeil, and he throws it away off the glove of Alonso. It stays in play. Fuentes reaches. The streak of 9 consecutive strikeouts comes to an end. And we'll wait to see how they score that, with Fuentes reaching to lead off the bottom of the 5th.
Well, I guess your fielders can be surprised if they haven't seen a ball put in play in 9 hitters. McNeil wasn't ready. He kind of fumbles with the backhand, can't get the grip, and then throws it wild.
Have to think they're going to score that in error, but they have yet to make an announcement. In any event, the tying run is aboard now, and DeGrom has to go back to pitching from the stretch for the first time in 3 innings. Sam Hilliard is the batter, and trying to bunt, pops it up, and that ball goes out of play. And they will score an error on McNeil, allowing Fuentes to reach.
Trying to play for the 1 run here, and this was a sacrifice bunt by Hilliard, who struck out on 3 pitches his first at bat. 3 fastballs, now behind the count already. Mets and DeGrom chasing history, and now reality has set in. A typical DeGrom game.
So rather than a major league record, Jake settles for a career high with the 9 straight strikeouts, and now he's quickly ahead on Hilliard, 0-2. The last pitcher to strike out 9 in a row before DeGrom today was a young Tigers pitcher, Tyler Alexander, last year against Cincinnati.
Left-hander, right? If I remember right.
Now been 8 pitchers strike out 9 in a row since Seaver got the 10, and he still is alone at the top of that list 51 years later. 0-2 to Hilliard, and he wouldn't chase that slider. 1-2. Rockies getting down toward the bottom of the batting order. The pitcher spot 2 batters away. Chichi Gonzalez has done very well to limit the damage in this game to just 1 run over 5 innings. And so DeGrom finds himself in a nail biter again. What new? And Hilliard strikes out on the slider. That's 11 now for DeGrom. He fanned 14 in his last start over 8 innings against Miami. He's got 11 in just 4 1/3 this afternoon.
This game will knock you for a loop as Nunez comes to the plate. You have a pitcher out there that's dominating the lineup in such a way, and they're still in the game. Right in the middle of it.
Dom Nunez struck out his first time up. I believe Jonathan Daza is out on deck to pinch hit, with the pitcher due up next. That's drilled in the air to deep right field. Conforto goes back, and that ball is off the wall. Heading for third is Fuentes. He's going to be waved around as the ball bounces away from Conforto. The game is tied. Heading for third is Nunez, and he arrives there safely. And the Rockies have tied the game at 1-1. That ball hit the scoreboard fence in right field and bounced back toward the infield, and there was nobody there to help out Conforto. And by the time he got to that baseball, Fuentes was able to cross the plate, and Nunez winds up at third with a triple.
You know, Gary, if this, when it bounced towards the infield, the only person that really could have helped was maybe McNeil at second base, because that's how far it bounced. And the catcher Nunez with a triple. Big error by McNeil to start this inning.
And so now the Rockies with the go-ahead run at third and nobody out. First career triple for Dom Nunez. And now Jonathan Daza is the pinch hitter. Batting for Chichi Gonzalez, trying to get the lead run home. The Mets bring the infield in.
Got to anticipate a squeeze.
Fouled away. So the tenor of this game has changed very quickly from DeGrom's run at history to the Rockies tying the game, and now perhaps with a chance to take the lead. This is a spot where Jake could use one of those strikeouts. And he swings through a fastball, and it's 0-2. Daza is 6 for 16 to start the year, so he's been swinging the bat well. Only 4 strikeouts in those 16 at bats. Well, this is something we refer to often. The most dominant pitcher in the game over the last 3+ seasons, and yet his team has a losing record when he goes to the mound. It's almost impossible to fathom. 0-2 to the pinch hitter Daza with Tapia on deck.
It's not only, Gary, that it is impossible to fathom. It's worse. You almost expect it to happen. That's worse.
Michael Givens, the veteran right-hander, up in the Rockies bullpen, with Gonzalez leaving for the pinch hitter. He went 5 credible innings today, and now has a chance to win if they can get him a run here. 0-2 to Daza. And he lines one the other way. Coming on hard is Conforto, and he makes the shoestring catch. Trying to score is Nunez. The throw to the plate goes wide, and the Rockies take the lead. Conforto makes a nice running catch coming in, but a relatively short throw goes wide of the mark, and Nunez scores.
You got to check third base, or I would check third base to see if he left properly. Not saying he didn't. But you see the line drive to right field. You see the stumble by Conforto, almost like he wasn't expecting Nunez to go. Of course you're going to go. Well, how else are you going to get a run off the great DeGrom? And now they've gotten 2.
So 2 runs are home for the Rockies. They lead 2-1. And Raimel Tapia bats with 2 out and nobody on. So just like that, the script page turns. An error by McNeil opens the door, and the Rockies go storming through. Both runs will be unearned against DeGrom, and that is of no consolation to Jake, who was extremely frustrated after that sacrifice fly that did not appear deep enough to get a run home, and yet it did.
I will say good base running by Nunez. Almost every base runner, when a line drive's hit, sometimes stray off the bag, he went right back and tagged.
Two and 1 to Tapia. Now McNeil couldn't get a good handle on the ball as he fielded it behind second base. That enabled Fuentes to reach on the bad throw, and then Conforto double clutched on his throw home and threw it wide, enabling Nunez to score. So fielding certainly an issue in this inning. And, you know, when we talk about Jake not getting wins over the course of his career, generally the focus has been on the offense, and that's fair because they don't tend to score when he's in there. But it's been the bullpen, it's been the defense, it's been everything conspiring to not allow DeGrom to win his share of games.
Listen, he's got to take a little of the, blame himself. But the most important part to me, Gary, is that because the games are so close, because they don't score any runs, you have to be as great as he is in these games. And the Mets at times are just not.
I wonder sometimes if maybe they're trying too hard.
Maybe. I don't know about that.
3-2 coming to Tapia, and he lines one foul. Tapia's fouled out and struck out 0 for 2. Jake about to throw his 80th pitch of the day, working in the 5th inning of a 7-inning game with the Mets behind for the first time. (3-2). And he golfs one in the air, deep right field, right down the line, hooking. Home run. It's a home run for Raimel Tapia. He just kept it fair inside the right field foul pole. Tapia's second home run of the year, and it's now 3-1 Colorado. Only the second home run DeGrom has allowed this year as Tapia takes him deep, tucking one around the foul pole.
Got a slider down and in. Most of those pitches and the strikeouts have been ending up off the plate. This one stayed on the plate and golfed down the line by Tapia.
Tapia hit just one home run last season. He's already got 2 this year. And so DeGrom, after the disappointment of giving up the lead, gives up a home run. Not often do Jake's emotions get in the way of his performance, but I kind of feel as though that has happened just in the last few moments.
Gary, what we weren't able to show you because we have a world feed here is that after the play at the plate where the Rockies went ahead 2-1, saw Jake yell in his glove for a long period of time. You usually don't see that. Oh, here's a frustration we can show you that I was talking about. You just don't see this from DeGrom. Almost like his shoulders sagged. That doesn't happen.
I mean, as he's backing up home plate, he's expecting certainly that Conforto's going to make a better throw and at least give a chance to McCann to make a play at the plate. But you're right, shoulders sagged, and body language can tell a story. And he seemed to lose his command against Tapia. It's continuing to this at bat against McMahon, but he comes back to strike him out with a changeup. 12 strikeouts for DeGrom, but 3 unearned runs for the Rockies give them the lead. 3-1 Colorado as we go to the 6th. All right, thanks very much, Eamon. Jacob DeGrom, a little disconsolate after 3 runs, all unearned against him in the 5th. 12 strikeouts in the 5 innings, but now down 3-1 as we head into the late innings of this 7-inning game. And the Rockies will go to their beleaguered bullpen and bring Michael Givens into the game, the former Baltimore Oriole, now in his 2nd year with the Rockies. Pete Alonso leads off. He's driven in the only Met run with a base hit with 2 out in the 3rd. And Pete attacks the first one and bounces it foul.
Well, Givens got plenty of work when he was in an Orioles uniform. 66, 69, 68, 58 games. A teammate of Miguel Castro on the Mets. He throws a little bit like Miguel, 3/4 with a fastball and slider.
Not quite as hard as Miguel. He throws 99. Givens more like a 93, 94 guy. Well, the Mets offensive woes catching up to them as DeGrom gave up the 3 runs as Alonso lifts one down the right field line. Long run for Blackman, but that'll land beyond his reach. And it's 0-2. The Mets are 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position today. They got the first 2 men on in the 1st inning. And Chichi Gonzalez struck out a couple and got a ground ball to get through it. They scratched out a run in the third, but left 2 men on. They got the first 2 men on in the fourth, but Trevor Story started a brilliant double play against McCann. So Gonzalez wound up going 5 innings, giving up 6 hits and a walk, but only 1 run. Struck out 3, 82 pitches, and now in line for the win. Just outside 1 and 2. Givens pitching the 6th, and Daniel Bard is the closer for the Rockies. Such a great comeback story last year. You would certainly expect to see him in the 7th if the Rockies hold the lead. Alonso, McNeil, and Conforto for the Mets in the top of the 6th. And Peake gets a breaking ball and drills one down the left field line toward the wall. It's out of here. Pete Alonso with a line drive home run, his 2nd of the year, to get the Mets back within a run. That was an absolute bullet off the bat of Alonso. 10 rows up into the seats in left field.
But Gary, you talked about that series he had 2 seasons ago here in Colorado. Just some hitters, just who doesn't like hitting here? And Givens, room service, hanging slider right in the middle of the plate. And this ball had no chance. Beautiful side swing of Pete, rolling over that front foot, and the sound you could hear from here all the way to Denver.
So it's now a 3-2 game, and here is McNeil, and he lifts one in the air. Right center field, playable for Hilliard, and he makes the one-hand grab for the first out. So now Michael Conforto, who has snapped out of his slump with a 2-for-2 afternoon. Single to right center, single to left center. So the Rockies bullpen giving up a home run to the first man they face. Their bullpen ERA was the worst in the National League coming into the day at 5.84. And the Mets hoping to rally further.
Well, that bullpen has been an issue for this team for quite some time. Not only this season.
And that one just nicks the corner. 2-1 to Conforto.
But you remember, Gary, a few seasons ago they gave big 3-year contracts to Brian Shaw, Jake McGee, Wade Davis, and it still was a problem.
Didn't work out.
Nope.
Rolled over to the right side, right into the shift. And McMahon throws out Conforto for the 2nd out. First time Michael's been retired today. 421 feet on the Pete Alonso home run. Exit velocity just under 112 miles per hour. Here's Daniel Bard getting ready for a save assignment, and perhaps ready to come in the 6th inning if needed. It's interesting that he's getting up at this point with 2 out and nobody on.
One of the finest young pitchers in the game, then lost the plate and has rejuvenated his career.
7 years away.
Wow.
With the Yips, comeback player of the year last year.
I don't know if you've gotten to meet him, Gary. One of the great guys to talk to about what he's gone through.
J.D. Davis 1 for 2 in his return to the lineup today. And he chases a slider from Givens, and it's 0-2. James McCann would be next. Davis batting with 2 out and nobody on after the Alonso home run led off the inning. And J.D. chases a fastball for strike 3, so Givens bounces back to retire 3 in a row after Alonso gets the Mets closer. Well, Jacob DeGrom back to the mound for the 6th inning. Get today's New York sports here. Start your morning with a quick run through of all the essential New York sports news. Direct your inbox daily. Subscribe to SNY's The Warm Up at SNY.TV. Trevor Story's been up twice, struck out both times. 2 of the 12 strikeouts for DeGrom through the first 5 innings. But Jake on the short end of a 3-2 score, thanks to 3 unearned runs in the 5th after he had struck out 9 in a row, becoming only the 9th pitcher in history to do that, 1 shy of Tom Seaver's major league record. And he bounces a slider to Story. 2-0. Charlie Blackmon and C.J. Cron to follow. This is a 7-inning game. The Rockies batting in the bottom of the 6th. The Mets will have 8, 9, and 1 in the order coming up in the 7th and final inning. McCann, DeGrom, and Nimmo due up. And Jake sells a fastball high, and it's 3-0. Well, he was in sync to such a great extent during that 9-batter stretch, and he's fallen a little bit more out of sync since then, as was the case very early in this game. Fastball is backed up to 97, which is where it was when the game began. He dialed it up to 101, but now it's come back down. Dangerous pitch to Story, and he fouls it back.
Straight back. I'm just wondering, Gary, you know, I wonder if it's easier for DeGrom, the competitor, to strike out people in a team space. So we look at this ball fouled straight back, than a personal space, if you know what I'm talking about. You know, a personal record.
Well, but he'll kick himself and say that the one place he really needed the strikeout was against Daza when he was 0-2, and he, you know, gave up a line drive that should have been out at the plate. Fly ball out to right, and Conforto has this one lined up. And Story retired 1. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. You know, there was a lot more pitching to go. It's just it's weird when you're going for personal records within the confines of a tight game. It's a weird space to be.
But then again, that's really Jake's entire career.
Yeah.
Look how much he's accomplished as an individual, and yet it has not led to team victories, which is so bizarre. There's Blackmon, who has doubled and struck out. I mean, his last outing against Miami was a classic example, right? He went 8 innings, gave up 1 run, didn't walk a batter, struck out 14, and lost. You know how many pitchers in the history of the game have gone 14 strikeouts, no walks, 1 run, and lost? 2. James Shields in 2012 and DeGrom last week.
Wow.
That's it. And here he is again, an historic afternoon, and yet he's on the short end at the moment. 1-1 to Blackmon, and you scratch your head and say, how can this be happening? And yet it keeps happening.
Well, it's interesting to listen to a lot of the guys we have in our truck and you, and just saying, seems like a bad dream over and over again.
And don't think his teammates don't know every bit of it.
Oh, yeah.
As Blackmon swings through a bad slider, and it's 1-2. DeGrom upset with himself about that last pitch, even though he got away with it.
Yeah, it was a hanging slider. That's why I think, Gary, he is so forthright and takes it all on himself in post-game interviews and never mentions his teammates ever.
Yeah, he says, I shouldn't have given up a run.
Yep.
And Blackmon, did he go around? He did. Strike 3. Number 13 for DeGrom. So in his last 2 starts now, DeGrom has struck out 27 batters in 13 2/3 innings. Chew on that.
Can't even do that in Little League.
So now he's got a chance to once again match his career high in strikeouts. He's done it 4 times, including that last start against Miami. Struck out 14 in a game. Now trying to do it in just 6 innings. He might, you know, you hope it doesn't come down to this, but if he's able to get through this inning and the Mets don't rally in the 7th, he would have a 6-inning complete game.
6-inning complete game. If he strikes out Cron, 18 outs, 14 of them via strikeout.
And now he's ahead on Cron, 0-2. Mets have gone 125 straight games without a complete game. Their last one was a Steven Matz shutout against the Pirates in July of 2019.
I'd have to admit, I did not know who Dom Nunez was before this game started.
Now he's the guy who hit the triple off the wall.
That's right.
0-2 coming at Crone, and he lays off the slider 1-2. Jake's last complete game was in 2018 against the Phillies. He has 3 complete games in his career. He'd rather not have one today. Rather they rally and somebody else finish the bottom of the 7th. Swing and a miss. Crone is down on strikes, and that is 14 strikeouts for a second consecutive start for Jacob DeGrom. Now can the Mets rally for him in the last inning? Second game of the doubleheader coming up about 45 minutes after the first one. Mets will have Joey Lucchesi making his first start against Germán Marquez. Mets are down 3-2 as we go to the 7th and final inning of this one. Jacob DeGrom 14 strikeouts in 6 innings, but a run shy as we go to the 7th. And Daniel Bard, the 35-year-old right-hander, will come on to try and save it for Colorado.
One of the great young pitchers that came up with the Red Sox in 2009, 2011, 25 consecutive scoreless appearances, threw 102 miles an hour, and then couldn't find the plate for 6.5 seasons. Last year, the NL Comeback Player of the Year with the Rockies.
He's throwing 98, 99 these days. He'll face James McCann leading off. Jonathan Villar is out on deck to pinch hit, and then Brandon Nimmo for the Mets in the 7th and final inning. McCann is 0 for 2, and he hits a slider past the reach of Story and into left field for a base hit. So McCann jumps on the first pitch he sees from Bard, rifles a base hit, and the Mets are in business in the 7th.
I was thinking maybe McCann could have been the few that might have seen Bard, but jumps right over that first pitch slider.
Mets will get a pinch runner. Albert Almora to bat to a run for McCann as Jonathan Villar steps in to bat for DeGrom. So Almora, the tying run at first, as Villar steps in to pinch hit against Bard. Villar grounded out as a pinch hitter on Wednesday. Started the second game on Tuesday, went 1 for 3 with an RBI double. Had the game-winning hit in the first game Tuesday, so he has been swinging the bat well. Tying run at first and nobody out as DeGrom looks on. And no hint of a bunt as Villar takes high ball 1.
Well, Mets don't bunt, and if you remember last year when Villar was with the Marlins, remember he tried to bunt for them a couple of times and didn't know how to. So certainly should be swinging the bat here.
Nimmo and Lindor to follow as the Mets try and rally in the last inning. And Villar rifles one into right field for a base hit. That ball's going to go back to the wall. Almora on his way to third. Gary DiSarcina is going to wave him around. The relay throw to the plate by McMahon. He slides in head first and he's safe. The Mets tie the game. Jonathan Villar with the RBI double. Almora just beat the relay by McMahon. And the Mets get even 3-3 in the 7th.
Blackman gets the ball off the wall. Perfect throw to the second baseman McMahon with a strike home. And his right hand beat it, but his right hand didn't touch the plate. So did his left hand touch first? Yes, it did.
Yep, got the back.
Just the back of the plate.
Point. What a big hit for Villar as he comes up heroic again. Had the walk-off hit in game 1 on Tuesday. And now another huge late-inning hit for Villar to get Almora home with the tying run.
I mean, maybe the pinky got over that back end of the plate. Great slide by Almora. Hardest job in baseball to go out there in 39-degree weather and run from first to home.
270 feet, and Almora brings home the tying run. Now the go-ahead run at second with nobody out. Mets have gotten DeGrom off the hook. Now they have a chance to get him a lead. Nimmo's 1 for 2 in a sacrifice. And Brandon takes a fastball on the inside corner. 0-1.
Bard's got beaten here by 2 sliders.
Let's get Edwin Diaz up in the bullpen now, along with Aaron Loop. Getting ready for the bottom of the 7th.
VR's become a real weapon off the bench, hasn't he?
Man, he has had quite a week. Game-winning hit in Game 1 Tuesday, the go-ahead hit in Game 2 on Tuesday, and now a game-tying hit in the final inning on Saturday. And the changeup misses to Nimmo. Ball and a strike.
Greatest no decision in the history of the game. Needed that one. Ooh.
Well, he's got a chance for a win if they can get a run in now. 6 innings, no earned runs, 14 strikeouts. He lowered his ERA to 0.45 and has now struck out 35 batters in 20 innings. Quite a start to his season, but still looking for his first win.
Yeah.
And the breaking ball misses outside to Nimmo, 2-1. So Bard not quite himself right now. He got a generous call on that first pitch to Nimmo, but he's missed with a changeup and a slider. Lindor waiting on deck. That's with a run in the 6th and a run in the 7th against the Rockies' beleaguered bullpen. And Nimmo fouls one away. 2-2.
Those 98 beat Nimmo on the inside part of the plate.
35-year-old Daniel Bard closing games these days for the Rockies. Saved 6 games for them last year in his comeback season.
Not really holding VR on at second base.
Story's behind him, but not that close to him. 2-2 coming, but first Bard takes a look.
That's all he had to do. Good move by Bard. Just give that one fake. That's enough to freeze VR. No outs anyways.
Yeah.
You can't get thrown out of third base.
You don't want to steal third with nobody out. I mean, with 1 out, it would make sense.
Yep.
VR is an accomplished base stealer. Once stole 62 bases in a season.
Got to watch out for Story putting a play on too. Maybe not this at bat, but the next.
2-2 coming to Nimmo. A ground ball to the right side, and that'll be smothered by McMahon. The off-balance throw not in time. Nimmo beats it out for an infield hit. McMahon saving a run by smothering that ball, keeping VR from scoring, but he couldn't throw out Nimmo, who has his second hit of the day.
Well, he had a miscue in the first inning to McMahon on a throw, but what a play he's made to his left and almost here to his right. Just the speed of Nimmo didn't make it close.
And so Nimmo reaches base twice for the 9th straight game, one shy of the club record held by David Wright. And now the Mets are a fly ball away from grabbing a lead. First and third, nobody out, and Francisco Lindor the batter. Lindor is 0 for 3. He's hit 3 ground balls to second base. One of them was a brilliant play by McMahon. Another McMahon threw away for an error. VR with great speed at third. Nimmo with great speed at first. And Lindor hits it hard. Base hit, and the Mets take the lead. VR is in to score. Francisco Lindor with the Mets' 4th consecutive hit puts New York in front. It's 4-3 in the 7th. Just his 2nd RBI as a Met and his biggest so far. Lindor with the base hit to give the Mets a lead.
Well, gets a fastball out over the plate, pulls it with the infield in. McMahon not a chance to catch that ball. Ball hit too hard for Nimmo to go first to third. Plus he had to freeze on the line drive, but a lead for number 48.
And now Edwin Diaz will begin to throw like he means it in the Mets bullpen. Lindor exulting with his go-ahead hit. Now Bud Black has seen this already this year. His team has lost 6 in a row, and the bullpen has been culpable in quite a bit of it. Michael Givens gave up the home run to Alonso in the 6th to get the Mets within a run, and now Bard's given up 4 straight hits to start the 7th. Mets looking for more now. You don't ever have enough runs in this ballpark. There's Dom Smith, who struck out twice and walked 0 for 2. And the slider misses outside, ball 1. And there is Diaz getting ready for the save opportunity.
Not seeing the sharp break on Bard's pitches. Kind of a lazy slider. going in there.
And Dom pulls one foul. 1-1. Well, DeGrom now in line for the victory. Perhaps there is some justice. 99 pitches for Jake in 6 innings. Gave up just 3 hits and 3 unearned runs. 1 walk, 14 strikeouts. Rockies get further action going in their bullpen. The lefty Ben Bowden is up. And the changeup misses away. 2-1 to Dom. Pete Alonso homered his last time up, is on deck. He drove in the first 2 Met runs today with a single and a homer. Now 2 runs home in the 7th. And Smith fouls one back. 2-2. Game 2 of the doubleheader. The Mets will have Joey Lucchesi, who has more Coors Field experience than any Met, having pitched in the NL West, up against the Rockies. I guess you'd call him the ace, Germán Marquez. Usually you have your best pitcher going in game 1. Rockies opted to go with Marquez in game 2. 2-2 coming, and Dom yanks one to right field. Back a couple of strides. Blackman to make the catch. Nimmo tags at second, and he'll move over to third. Dom hit that ball well, but Blackman able to retreat to get it for the first out of the inning. But now Nimmo's at third with 1 out, and Pete Alonso with a chance to get him home.
Bard hasn't been fooling anyone in this inning. Ball hit right on the nose by Smith.
By the way, Jacob DeGrom striking out 14 today after striking out 14 last Saturday against Miami. It's only the 2nd time in Mets history that a pitcher's had back-to-back games of 14 or more strikeouts. The other one, 1985, Doc Gooden. He had consecutive 16 strikeout games.
Pittsburgh was one.
Philadelphia was the other one. That's the game he lost on the balk.
That's right.
So here's Alonso, who had an RBI single in the 3rd and then a bullet home run in the 6th, his 2nd of the year. So he's driven in 2 runs today. And he fouls back the first pitch, breaking ball, 0-1. That's a scored twice here in the 7th. Still only 1 out. Nimmo at third, Lindor at first. Cohen holding Lindor, leaving basically the right side of the infield open, with McMahon shaded over almost behind the bag at second. And Alonso pulls one foul. Nimmo ducking out of the way. 0-2. Broke his bat. Bard could use a strikeout. Ahead on Alonso 0-2 with McNeil on deck. And Pete goes down swinging on the high fastball. And that's the 2nd out. So a very big insurance run standing at third base. Alonso unable to get him in. And now it's left to McNeil with 2 out.
Good placement of this fastball by Bard. Just across the letters. Pete couldn't catch up to it.
So now McNeil, who's 0 for 3, get into a fielder's choice and flied out twice. Nimmo at third, Lindor at first with 2 out. Think about running Lindor here.
Oh no, you might want to keep that hole open, right?
And that fastball is a generous strike call. McNeil had a couple of those in his first at bat in the 1st inning. Pitches off the plate that Bruce Streckman called strikes.
Yeah, I keep Lindor there, Gary. just because I want that hole. Bart's throwing a lot of sliders down and in. That could be a place McNeil could find a hit.
Playing McNeil pretty much straight up on the infield, leaving that hole open. Oftentimes there is no hole.
Yeah, right.
It was interesting listening to Luis Rojas talk about McNeil today. Said he's one of the best pull hitters we have. That he considers him a pull hitter until he gets to 2 strikes. Now the Rockies aren't playing him that way. He fouls that one back, and it's 1-2.
He had a pitch to hit there. Hanging slider.
Numbers haven't been there for McNeil in the early season. He's had 2 opportunities already with runners in scoring position. Couldn't get the run in either time. Now 0 for 8 this year with runners in scoring position.
Hitters will tell you, though, 1 at bat in time, a big at bat, especially with 2 outs, can start a streak.
1-2 coming. And McNeil hits one off his foot, a foul ball. You know what today is? It's April 17th.
Okay.
April 17th, 1964 was the first ever game at Shea Stadium.
Really? That's right. They always new stadiums. They wait till the second or after the road trip's done, right, to give the team extra time.
I know this would shock you, but the Mets lost. Jack Fisher started, but he did not get the loss. Bill Mazeroski got the game-winning hit in the 9th against Ed Bauta. Pirates 4, Mets 3.
Come on, Ed.
1-2 coming. Swing and a miss, and Bart strikes out McNeil to end the inning, but the Mets get the lead. VR and Lindor with the RBI hits. Now Diaz will try and nail it down in the bottom of the 7th. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Mets. Been quite a ball game. First of a doubleheader, 14 strikeouts in 6 innings for Jacob DeGrom, but the Mets were trailing when they came to bat in the 7th. Jonathan Villar's RBI double tied it, and Francisco Lindor's RBI single put the Mets in front, giving DeGrom a chance to win. Defensive changes for the Mets. Luis Guillorme comes into play third. Albert Almora stays into play center, and Nimmo moves to left. Tomas Nido will catch, and Edwin Diaz will bid for the save.
Of all his appearances as a Met, I thought his appearance 3 days ago against the Philadelphia Phillies was maybe his most electric. Hopefully he can do that here tonight or this afternoon.
Looking for his first save of the year. He's been in 4 games, but they've all been in non-save situations. Josh Fuentes will lead off for the Rockies as we go to the 7th. Diaz worked a 1-2-3 inning against the Phillies on Wednesday. A ground ball and a couple of strikeouts. We're missing a home plate umpire. Apparently Bruce Druckman was indisposed.
We got a nice center field cam. I'll call him. Go ahead, Edwin.
Hey, we can see balls and strikes probably better than we can see anything else. Of course, we're sitting 2,000 miles away in Flushing.
I got help with the goofy rectangle too. So
Fuentes reached on the throwing error by Jeff McNeil that started the 3-run 5th inning for the Rockies. 3 unearned runs against DeGrom. All that was noted on his ledger today. And a slider for a strike to Fuentes, and Diaz gets ahead. Fuentes, then Sam Hilliard and Dom Nunez, the 3 scheduled hitters for the Rockies. They do not have any left-handed bats on their bench. All right-handed bench for Colorado. They've already gotten a big pinch hit plate appearance from Jonathan Daza, who drove in the go-ahead run for Colorado with a sacrifice fly in the 5th. Fuentes facing Diaz for the first time, and the fastball away, 2-1. swings through the fastball, and it's 2-2.
Firm.
Two coming to Fuentes. Struck him out. High heat from Edwin Diaz. 15 strikeouts for Met pitching through 6 1/3.
19 Colorado outs. 15 have come on swing and misses.
And of those 19, 2 of those non-strikeouts were the first 2 batters of the game.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
So 15 of the last 17 outs for the Mets have been on strikeouts. And Hilliard swings through a first pitch fastball. I mean, strikeouts are more prolific than ever, but this is ridiculous. Hilliard has been up twice, struck out both times. And that one sails high, a ball and a strike.
It's almost like the hitters have grooved their swing to 95, but they're facing guys who are throwing 99. There lies the issue.
That catches the corner, and Diaz ahead on Hilliard, 1-2.
Good pitch right on the corner by Diaz. I know Hilliard probably thought that was in. Tough pitch. Same pitch, back up and in.
1-2 coming to Hilliard. He struck him out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Diaz, and the Rockies are down to their final out in Game 1.
Similar to Sam's first at bat against DeGrom. Just 3 well-placed 99-mile-an-hour fastballs up and in.
I mean, you look at the swing path and you look where the ball went. It's not even close. So it's left to Dom Nunez, who had the most unlikely hit in this game, his first career triple off the wall in right field to drive in the first Colorado run. That was in the 5th inning. Rockies have swung and missed 30 times in 6 2/3 innings. That is amazing. And a slider for a strike. It's 0-1. That's in 109 pitches. 30 swings and misses. Full shift on against Nunez. 2 out and nobody on. And Nunez grounds one foul, and now the Rockies are down to their final strike.
Might have to move that rubber 2 feet back.
Joey Lucchesi in Game 2 against German Marquez. Diaz trying to put on the finishing touches for Jacob DeGrom, who struck out 14 for a second straight start. Diaz has struck out his first 2. Garrett Hampson would pinch hit if Nunez can keep it going. 0-2. Takes the slider low. Ball and 2 strikes. That is a well outfitted Met fan. Hat, mask, blanket.
Layers.
One-two from Diaz to Nunez. He struck him out, and the ball game is over. Edwin Diaz strikes out the side in the 7th. DeGrom and Diaz strike out 17 batters in a 7-inning game, and the Mets, for the first time since 2019, have won 4 games in a row as they rally for a run in the 6th and 2 in the 7th to win it for DeGrom as they beat the Rockies 4-3.
The comeback that is always left wanting in DeGrom's game came to fruition tonight. VR and Lindor with huge hits in the 7th.
Quite a victory for the Mets in game 1 of the doubleheader as they hand the Rockies their 7th straight loss. The Sector Spider game summary: DeGrom 14 strikeouts for a 2nd straight start, set a career high by striking out 9 in a row, and the Mets get him the win with VR and Lindor driving in runs in the top of the 7th. Mets take game 1 of the doubleheader, now 6-3 on the year, and the Met fans are happy.